Live from New York. It's the show that has a mock draft 3.0, which means
it's better.
It's better.
It's
like
the best
you called
one yet.
you called Caleb Mahomes 2.0. It was really a shot at Mahomes.
He was.
He disagreed.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
And he tried to
take that back.
Just argue.
Second hour. First. We're 10 days away from the NFL draft. And Nick Wright has cooked up another mock draft, this time with the Patriots getting a quarterback I'm not entirely thrilled with, not to give it away. Nick, take it away.
All right, this is an unprecedented mock draft. The last mock draft we are going to do is a week from now, and that will be the one that are my official predictions.
Oh,
this
4.0?
one, 4.0. 4.0 actually is better than the other ones. This one, I am bucking history because we've never seen quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4. But in this, and I think it is on the board. So let's reveal it.
Okay.
First 8 picks. We know, listen, Caleb is number 1. All of the reporting out of Washington seems to be they love Jaden Daniels, break Wild's heart. And all the reporting out of New England is Elliott Wolf, who is seemingly interviewing for the job that he currently holds, and the owner's not going to step in. But as a fan, the owner would love a quarterback, and the fan is going to hire the GM. So they're drafting a quarterback. He likes J.J. McCarthy. We now have trades. Drake Maye, who some people have as the number 1 quarterback in this class. A lot of people have as the number 2 quarterback in this class. Him being available at number 4 puts Arizona in a massive position of strength. So they move back just 2 spots with the Giants. We'll talk about the details of that trade in a moment. And the Giants move up to get Drake Maye. The Bears then try to have an all-time draft. Quick history lesson. 60 years ago, the Chicago Bears had 2 top 5 draft picks in the 1965 NFL Draft. They took Dick Butkus and Gale Sayers.
Ooh, solid.
2 Hall of Famers and top 5 picks in the same draft.
On my draft report card.
The Bears have an opportunity here, if they were to move up, to take Caleb Williams, the number 1 quarterback, to come out in years, and Marvin Harrison Jr., the number 1 wide receiver, to come out in years. The Cardinals move down 2 spots. They get wide receiver Malik Neighbors, and these 2 picks have been the same in every single version of the draft. The Titans are drafting Joe Alt, and the Falcons are going to take the first defensive player, Dallas Turner. So what are those trades? If we can show them the first one quickly. The Giants give up next year's first and number 6 to move up and get their quarterback. And the Bears, this is really the real magic of it. The Bears, if we can show their trade, this is the last piece of the trade that got them Caleb Williams. The second rounder Carolina owes them next year is how they move from 9 to 5 to move up so that one trade could basically net you Caleb and Marvin Harrison. Now, the rest of the draft, no more trades. The Chargers, who had moved back earlier, obviously, with the Bears, they get Rome Odunze. They need wide receivers. The Jets can't help themselves, and they take Brock Bowers. The Vikings created this draft capital to draft a quarterback, but quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4, so they can't do it. So instead, they buttress the defense. They take the number 1 cornerback on seemingly everyone's board in a division where you're all of a sudden going to have 3 high-flying passing attacks. The Broncos buttress the defense with Jared Verse. The Raiders take a corner, which they desperately need. The Saints, I am now very convinced the Saints are taking a tackle because it looks like Ryan Ramczyk, his career is in question, certainly this season. And there's a run on defenders, as you see here, as Cooper DeJean goes off the board as the 3rd corner. And the Seahawks take Troy Fautanu, who's going to play interior, not a tackle spot. The next 8 quickly, if we can. The Jags flatly thought they were going to get Calvin Ridley back. They didn't. So they're going to have to draft a wide receiver there, even though they spent a lot of money on wide receivers the last few years. The Bengals lost DJ Reader. They try to fix it with Johnny Newton. The Rams and Steelers go tackle. The Dolphins lost Christian Wilkins in free agency. They try to fix it with Byron Murphy Jr. The Eagles need secondary help. They get Nate Wiggins. And like I said, the Vikings, after not being able to go quarterback, they just try to help that defense out, which needed it. They go corner in round 1. They go the edge rusher, super productive kid out of UCLA, Latu. And again, Graham Barton won't play tackle in the NFL. He'll probably play a center. And the Cowboys lost Taylor Biotish, who Brew loved so much once he left the Cowboys. Didn't love him so much before. And now the final 8 picks of Mock Draft 3.0. Packers, Bakhtiari gone, playing a 7th-round pick at tackle, bringing Amarius Mims. The Bucs have spent a lot of draft capital on pass rusher over the last few years. Yaya Diaby is their most productive one. Chop Robinson, someone people like a lot out of Penn State, they go there. Kool-Aid McKinstry, who a year ago might have been considered the top corner in this draft. The Bills are thrilled that only 4 wide receivers have gone off the board. They get Adonai Mitchell. The Lions try to give Aiden Hutchinson some help on the edge. The Ravens replace Moses, who they lost to the New York Jets. They lost to Brew, hated the Niners offensive line play, so we help him out. And the Chiefs get 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns from Troy Franklin at Oregon. That was his stats last year. That is
another
mock
wide
draft
receiver for Mahomes?
3.0. Well, the Chiefs' number 1 wide receiver might be missing some of the upcoming year, and so I think it makes it a larger position of need than we even thought.
Okay, let's head back to New York, the top of the draft. This has got Drake Maye eventually replacing Daniel Jones, and we talked about it earlier. I don't know if this would be a play it out a little bit and maybe a Russell Wilson scenario where you might end up sitting as they turn the page on Daniel Jones. Do you like this idea, bro?
No. Oh. And that's a real no. I'm not going to come back with something. No,
that's the problem with that technique.
Look, I understand the talent, Drake Maye, the strong arm and all that, but we've seen guys like him succeed, but we've also seen strong arm guys that need a little work mechanically and things like that never really materialize into being a great quarterback. Also, don't have a lot of weapons for him right? So you're already Daniel Jones, and I'm not Greg Jennings, who thought he was a top 10 quarterback.
Greg, we'll never get past that tape.
Straight. Yeah. But he's had 3 head coaches and 3 offensive coordinators in his tenure with the Giants. All right. I say I get it. I want to move on too if I'm them eventually. But this year, go in and try to give him a chance to succeed. All right, so draft some things around him that may help him. Obviously, he's not going to have Saquon, but that may help him this year because he's shown you bits and pieces, all right, that maybe he could be pretty good. And so, no, Nick, and a lot of people feel like Maye should sit a year anyway. Well, sitting behind Alex Smith, a la Patrick Mahomes, sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, a la Jordan Love, is different than sitting behind Daniel Jones.
You won't be able to say, and also you can say that was actually one of the meanest things Bruce said on the show.
What?
But it was true. I agree.
A mediocre quarterback at best. So
but also you wouldn't be able to sit the whole year. The fans would demand he play.
Absolutely.
So I do think Drake Maye. I do think that the top 3 quarterbacks taken are going to be Caleb, Jaden, and JJ. And I think that there will be a team that loves Drake Maye and moves mountains to go get him. Maybe it won't end up being the Giants. Maybe it will be the Vikings who have been trying to prepare for this. So I just think Drake Maye is the guy who's going to fall, and I think Drake Maye we're going to see a team trade up into the top 10 to go get him.
That all makes sense until I see that pretty long distance.
I mean, that was a nice pass.
All right, head to Chicago where Caleb, in this mock draft 3.0, is partnered with Marvin Harrison Jr. If this were to happen, bro, would you buy the Bears winning the division?
Look, it would be a dream scenario if they could get these 2, but I'm not going there yet. I think Caleb's going to have some growing pains. I think he's going to eventually be really good, but I think he's going to have some growing pains. And did the Packers leave the division?
No, they did not.
Did the Lions leave the division?
Dusty, can you check?
In Minnesota, if somehow they can get a quarterback, I mean, they got some pieces around the quarterback position too. So no, I think the Lions and Packers are actually NFC contenders.
So
they're gonna win. One of them's gonna win a division.
If the Bears, the only question I would have if the Bears were able to pull this off is how good is the defense going to be? They would have the best trio of wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
If you have DJ Moore, who's one of those fringe top 10 guys, Marvin Harrison, who this all of a sudden, is Marvin Harrison even the top wide receiver in his class stuff? I don't buy that at all.
Yeah.
I watch college. I am not Daniel Jeremiah, but I am watching a lot of big-time college football, and Marvin Harrison Jr. looked like a superstar pro for 2.5 years.
Right.
And then you also have Keenan Allen, you know what I mean, a savvy veteran to be your wide receiver 3. So I think, by the way, I think that this is plausible. And I think that if we do have quarterbacks go, 4 in the top 5, something like that, somebody might be able to move up either for him or for Neighbors because they don't have to move up quite as far as you would have thought.
Okay, let's head to New England, and a question I'm going to ask myself.
Okay.
This draft has the Patriots taking national champion J.J. McCarthy at 3, which I hope he does well. But we literally just did this in drafting an immobile national champion who, quote, makes good decisions and decided to move on. So here's the graphic that Josh and I cooked of J.J. McCarthy and Mac Jones, who is near and dear to my heart. But Mac Jones was throwing for almost 350 yards per game, 41-4, with 14 rushing yards. Not that many.
JJ's well more mobile than Mac was.
Yeah.
JJ's good athlete.
Yeah.
He's more mobile.
Yeah, he had 200 rushing yards and threw the ball 199 yards. I mean,
I agree. Listen, I'm not a J.J. McCarthy guy, but you can't compare him to Mac Jones' athleticism. Mac Jones,
He
can't
had 202 yards.
Athletic.
Okay, a little better doesn't slice the pie in the NFL. Meanwhile, if Jaden Daniels is available, Jaden Daniels had 1,100 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns. I can't just do the same thing again with Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones.
You think he is Mac Jones 2.0?
If we draft a quarterback, and here's the quagmire I'm in, I will fall in line like a good soldier. If we draft J.J. McCarthy, I'll be like, this dude is a winner. I'll do it all. But drafting a guy who is not dynamic, let's say, will you give me that?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
And threw the ball less than 200 yards when Mac Jones was airing that thing out. And be like, well, you know what? It's just if he has a consistent offensive coordinator,
I agree.
we can reach the ceiling of Josh Allen.
I agree.
Is he going to be better than Josh Allen? Does he have any chance of being better than Josh Allen?
I mean,
Jaden
he's going to be totally different, obviously.
Totally different as far as how good guys are.
Look, I actually like him third in this draft as a quarterback. Not necessarily third. I'm not saying they have to pick him. I'm saying of the quarterbacks.
You like him more than Drake Maye is what you're saying.
Yes, because your daughter went to Michigan.
No,
how dare you question his
Sorry.
integrity?
Hey,
My
son,
God.
every take is tied to a geographical. I'm from Indianapolis. Pacers over Bucks.
No. And look, the similarities in Mac Jones are, I mean, it's uncanny.
It's not, because Mac Jones threw for 150 more yards a game.
But the things people like about him are similar to Mac Jones.
Quarterback,
but
firm handshake.
And I was kind of, sort of, somewhat backed up a little bit, somewhat with you in Mac's rookie year.
Yeah.
Because he was, look, remember he came in and beat out Cam Newton?
Yeah, he was great.
And it was like, oh, he's got leadership, he's a winner.
Yeah.
And the Patriots didn't handle him well.
No.
All right, and you know how important it is to be in the right situation. I don't necessarily like JJ in New England, but somewhere else in the right situation, Minnesota, I'll take him in Minnesota. I don't like him with y'all.
I just want a quarterback, a dynamic quarterback.
I get it. Right.
Running around like, oh, the pocket
Would you be
collapsed.
happier?
The play's over. That's what's happened for the last 4 years. Pockets collapse.
Would you be happier with Drake Maye?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.